Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Technology Tuesday, presented by Out of the Box Technology. My name is Jennifer, and I will be your moderator today as we dive into our inventory management in QuickBooks. A little bit of housekeeping before we get started. This session is being recorded, and everyone will receive a link to that recording later today or first thing tomorrow morning. So if you just want to sit back, relax, take in all the information, and then go ahead and send us any questions that you might have as we go through, or if you have something about inventory that you are just wondering about, curious about, go ahead and use the chat on your GoToWebinar control panel to send those over to us, and we'll be sure to address those before the end of the session. A little bit about Out of the Box Technology. If you haven't joined us before, or maybe it has been a little while, we are an elite QuickBooks solution provider as recognized by Intuit, and also an elite member of the Pro Advisor program. So we really are anything and everything QuickBooks. The whole family of QuickBooks products we have certified experts in. We keep up to date on our training and just really working with clients across many industries. So our knowledge base really is quite wide. We do data services such as data migrations and health checks to check on your data integrity, accounting services such as recurring bookkeeping, and of course, training, integration, and support surrounding all of these areas and all of the QuickBooks products. So enough about us. I'd like to introduce today's speaker, my esteemed colleague, Bethany Ross. She is an accounting and administration manager here at Out of the Box Technology, but more importantly, she is a certified QuickBooks Pro Advisor in both online and desktop versions of the product. So she really does bring a wealth of knowledge to the team and to this topic of managing inventory in QuickBooks. So with that, Bethany, I'm going to hand things over to you to get started.
Thank you, Jennifer. Good afternoon. So we're going to jump right in today to discuss what exactly inventory is, inventory tracking in different levels of QuickBooks, and how to determine which solution is best for your company's needs. So what exactly is inventory? In a general sense, inventory is a stock of goods available or held for sale in the ordinary course of business. Inventory includes raw materials, which are the products that are used by the business to make the final products. Work in progress, which are semi-finished goods, which are made up of component parts in production, consumable goods or goods. Finished products, which are finished goods or products that are ready for sale. And consumable goods, which are items that are required more on the administration side, such as labor or packaging, rather than on the manufacturing side. Each industry, of course, has different types of inventory. And because inventory has value and inventory assets can be converted into cash through sales, inventory assets appear on the balance sheet. An inventory management system provides the capability to track and manage inventory levels, order fulfillment, and executing deliveries. It can help your organization take away the pen and paper and spreadsheet headaches. Inventory management system. It also provides inventory reporting on quantity, cost, total asset cost by part, and summarized or detailed profitability reports by part. Many inventory tracking systems track inventory in different ways. Some ways of tracking inventory are by using barcodes or serial numbers, by radio frequency identification, otherwise known as RFID, or through wireless tracking technology. What is inventory control? Inventory control is the supervision of supply, storage, and accessibility of items to ensure you have an adequate supply on hand without having excessive oversupply. Goods or materials are the essential elements of any organization. So taking control of your inventory helps to manage your inventory levels to ensure that you're keeping the optimal amount of storage of each item or product on hand. Inventory control also allows you to focus on the location, storage, recording, and accounting of inventories. It helps to supply different components to different departments or units. Proper inventory control can keep track of purchase orders, help with forecasting, and allows you to set your reorder points. Some best practices for inventory control are to have a consistent labeling system. Make sure you set reorder points so you don't run low on parts and components. Schedule regular audits to suit your company's needs, and use automated software such as QuickBooks.
Bethany, thank you for kind of just getting us all on the same page as far as some of this terminology and kind of concepts surrounding inventory management. So as we look at inventory in QuickBooks, of course, there's many different versions between QuickBooks Online, Online Advanced, then Desktop, Pro, Premier, Enterprise, which level of Enterprise. So if you could talk just a little bit about kind of how they compare to each other, even just within the QuickBooks ecosystem.
Of course, Jennifer. When you're using automated inventory management systems such as QuickBooks, the functionality allows you to drill down to a deeper level to streamline processes and reporting. QuickBooks inventory management software organizes your inventory and makes it easier to find products and services. You can track inventory on hand, get alerts for reorder levels, and get insights on what to buy and sell. With QuickBooks stock management software, you can enter non-inventory products and services as well. QuickBooks Enterprise, if you're using QuickBooks Desktop Enterprise, you can purchase or subscribe to the advanced inventory module, which we will touch on a little later. And that module enables you to use FIFO costing, multiple location inventory, barcode scanning, bin or lot tracking, serial or lot numbers, and also the sales order fulfillment process for site operations. QuickBooks Plus and QuickBooks Enterprise Platinum, or I'm sorry, QuickBooks Online Plus and QuickBooks Enterprise Platinum can track inventory using the FIFO method. This is the first in, first out method that considers the first units purchased to be the first units sold and will adjust your assets and costs of goods sold accordingly whenever sales of inventory items are entered. QuickBooks Desktop Pro, QuickBooks Desktop Premier, and QuickBooks Enterprise Silver and Gold use the average cost method. This is the weighted average cost to determine the value of your inventory and the amount debited to cost of goods sold when you sell your inventory. The average cost is the sum of the cost of all the items in inventory divided by the number of items. QuickBooks Desktop Premier, QuickBooks Enterprise Silver, Gold, and Platinum are able to track inventory assemblies. QuickBooks will let you combine inventory parts and other items to build a product. Once you set up your product's bill of materials, you can start building. When you build a new product, QuickBooks updates the stock of components you use. You don't have to worry about manually tracking your product's parts or materials. Multiple locations, bin tracking, advanced reporting, and barcode tracking is available in QuickBooks Enterprise Platinum Edition. It's the best in class for inventory management, reporting, job costing, and pricing rules. QuickBooks Desktop Premier, QuickBooks Enterprise Silver, Gold, and Platinum also allow you to use units of measure when you're setting up inventory.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Bethany. I know kind of depending on the framework of your business or what different areas are important to you can really guide you into the correct inventory management system depending on what you're looking for. So this chart is definitely helpful. So thank you. And you did kind of touch on advanced inventory. So I'd like to dive into that just a little bit more if you could.
Okay. The advanced inventory feature, it helps you streamline fulfillment. Like I said, it is available in QuickBooks Desktop Enterprise Platinum and Diamond editions. With advanced inventory, you're able to automate your inventory and order management from the warehouse to your customer's doorstep. You're able to always see what's in stock, what's on order, and where items are located. You're able to use the pick, pack, and ship functionality with barcode scanning, run cycle counts to update inventory in real time without shutting down warehouse operations. So it very much is an automated system that eases inventory tracking as well as running reports. You're able to also add landed cost to inventory. You can reconcile into inventory the expenses associated with acquiring inventory, such as customs and duties. How do you determine which solution is best for you? There are a few things to consider. Determine a type of inventory valuations you'll be using. Which method is best, FIFO or average cost? Will you need to track multiple locations or bins? Do you require lot numbers or serial numbers? Do you have landed costs that are significant to purchased inventory? And will you need to build inventory assemblies or scan barcodes? There are some best practices in inventory management. Inventory item setup is very important. You have the option of adding inventory as well as non-inventory items to QuickBooks for tracking purposes. Inventory items are products that your business sells and wants to track the quantity of. Non-inventory items are products that your business sells but doesn't track the quantity of, such as office supplies and materials for making products. A small example of this is, say, screws and nails to make your products. Service items are for tracking services a business provides to customers, like labor, consulting, and professional fees. And then once you have your inventory items set up, the best way to categorize items by inventory type is to review a master inventory list and then group the items together logically. Define your bill of materials for inventory assemblies. A bill of material is a centralized source of information used to manufacture a product. It's a combined list of items needed to create a product, as well as the instructions on how to assemble that product. There are 4 items that typically make up bill of materials, and that's the name of the raw material, the quantity required to make the assembled product, the unit cost, and the cost of labor put into making the product. Determine your best inventory cost method, whether you're using the average cost or the FIFO costing. And one thing to consider is proper inventory audit or count schedules. What works best for your business, whether you do an annual audit, a quarterly audit, or a monthly audit. We will touch on this, but there is a report that you're able to pull out of QuickBooks to ease the process of doing inventory audits. So the benefits of inventory in QuickBooks, you're able to track overall performance. QuickBooks helps you easily consolidate data into customizable and accurate reports. Within those reports, you're able to drill down to get even further information within the reports that you're looking for. Accounting for inventory quantities and values are automatically recorded when an item is purchased and reduced along with cost of goods sold when an item is sold. This helps take away the burden of manually tracking items, which can significantly help reduce errors. It's very easy to use. QuickBooks is very user-friendly and has become one of the world's top selling accounting software. QuickBooks provides a lot of reporting capabilities and functions. Some of the most common inventory reports are the inventory valuation summary or detail. The inventory valuation report consists of the monetary cost of your items that make your inventory, summarized data of quantity, average cost, and extended value. This report allows you to see both your inventory items as well as your assembled items. It reports your quantity on hand, the sales price, the retail value, and the percent of total retail value. Inventory stock status. This can be run by item or by vendor. The inventory stock status report helps to effectively manage your inventory and shows how many you have on hand so you know when you need to reorder. There's also an assembly shortage that can be run by vendor or item. Negative inventory listing. QuickBooks Enterprise has a great preference to prevent negative inventory. For example, you can set up the software to keep negative inventory from happening, or you can run the negative report listing or the inventory assembly shortage report. These will help keep you from running low or having negative quantities of inventory, which is something that you significantly want to avoid. There's also the physical inventory worksheet, and this is what I spoke about. The physical inventory worksheet is a tool to maintain accurate inventory records by comparing your physical inventory count to your inventory counts in QuickBooks. The report lists all on-hand inventory. For each item, it shows the name, description, preferred vendor, and quantity on hand. All of these reports are also customizable, so you can add or take away information that you don't feel that you need within the report to make for your reporting needs. So they're very helpful.
Great. I love too, Bethany, that you commented that they're customizable. We're going to show a couple screenshots, and I know in even developing these, we could pick which columns we wanted showing, what you wanted to highlight out. So that's really a fantastic feature of the reporting in QuickBooks.
You can also pick your date range and sort it by year, quarter, month. So this is the evaluation summary, and as you can see, it shows the on hand. When you're tracking units of measure, it'll show your units of measure, the average cost, the asset value, and the percent of your total asset. And this is the inventory stock status by item. And like I said, it can also be run by vendor. it shows your preferred vendor. So you are able to select within QuickBooks a preferred vendor, a secondary preferred vendor, um, when you're setting up your inventory items. And that's also something that you can change if you were to switch vendors. Your reorder point, which is something that you're able to set when you are setting up your inventory in QuickBooks. It shows your quantity on hand, how many are currently on sales orders, and how many are available. The checkbox, as you can see under cabinets other, that shows that those are on order, so that you're ordering them to, and they will be in stock soon. It also shows how many items are on open POs that haven't been fulfilled. And this is the physical inventory worksheet. This is something that you would use whether you decide if you want to do monthly, quarterly, annually physical counts of your inventory. This is a quick report, so you can see what QuickBooks is saying that you have on hand. When you do your physical count, you just write in your physical count, and if for some reason the quantity on hand and the physical count doesn't add up correctly, then you're able to go in and do an inventory adjustment within QuickBooks.
And this, Bethany, is one that you could like print off and kind of carry around your warehouse or your facility.
Yes.
You do that physical count, right?
Yes, definitely. It's definitely helpful for that. Some of the most common inventory mistakes are putting a beginning balance on items, incorrectly gauging how much products is coming in or going out, management irregularities, which not properly recording inventory counts or other accounting transactions, mapping and setting up inventory or service items to go to wrong general ledger accounts.
All right. Well, Bethany, this has been just some really good kind of high level information about inventory management as it pertains to QuickBooks, from the reporting functionality and that, the custom reporting that can be done and the information you can glean from that, to, of course, here, some mistakes that we see often. And I think too, in some of those best practices that you had mentioned, the reverse of those would be common mistakes. And I think that initial setup that you led with is something that can really trip people up a lot, and which we see. And so just even from the very get-go, the way you set it up, the importance of that, and that's where we can step in and help. If you have it set up and maybe things are kind of not going so well, things are messy, things are disorganized, we can come in and take a look and help you clean it up. Or if you're getting started and you're about to get it set up and you want some help, our team can help you with that, just to make sure that things are from square one going forward in the correct way. Or maybe you've set it up and you're a couple days in and you want us to take a look. So really, wherever you are, we've probably seen it and we've probably helped to fix it. So I really appreciate you digging in here. It's a lot. It's probably more even than what we were able to cover today on this webinar. And so I definitely encourage our audience today, or anyone who's watching this recording, to just kind of take a step back and evaluate, is your inventory management working as well as it can be? Is it something that's a stressor or a pain point for you? Are your line items just not lining up and things aren't balancing? If any of that is the case for you, I definitely encourage you to take a pause and just say, okay, I need someone else to look at this, you know, from that 500-foot level, just like what is going on. Like I said, we've probably seen it all. And so we are happy to help. And I think kind of along with a mistake, just with your accounting software in general, is having an outdated system. And that kind of leads into the sunsetting of QuickBooks Desktop 2020. We are in May, the month of May now, which I can hardly believe it. But on May 31st of every year, Intuit does discontinue the version of QuickBooks from 3 years prior. So here we are in 2023. So they are discontinuing QuickBooks Desktop 2020, and really anything that is under that umbrella of that version. So point of sale, desktop, pro-prem, just anything that kind of falls into that QuickBooks Desktop 2020 will be discontinued. So what does that mean? Access to payroll services, live support, online backup and banking, and really any other services and updates will be discontinued if you're running the version of 2020 or older. Maybe you missed the discontinuation or the sunset last year, but anything prior will also fall under this. And so if you're on those versions, I lower your heart rate. It's okay. Everything's going to be okay. You're not going to be shut off necessarily come May 31st at 11:59 p.m. But just some of that support, backup, the sync with third-party apps, just all of that, those updates and new features and stuff just won't apply going forward. Things will still work. It's just not really quite as efficient. So how can we help you with that? We can help switch you from what you're currently on into something more current. And that might be a good kind of jumping off point for, you know, evaluating how you're using inventory and managing it in QuickBooks currently and making sure going forward it's correct. Are you on the correct version for your needs? Maybe over the last several years, things have changed. You have grown. The way that you run your business maybe has evolved, especially as we just went through a pandemic. So are you in the right software for what you're needing to do for your business going forward? So our team is really constantly having their hands in with all different industries. And so they really are subject matter experts when it comes to your accounting and inventory. We have a whole team that just specializes. So we are here for you to help you with that ongoing training and support. We'll help you get it set up. We'll be there. We can be there daily. We can be there weekly. We can be there quarterly, you know, however often you need, and that can kind of fluctuate as well. So with that, I would like to open it up for questions. And I know a few have come in early on before we touched on advanced inventory. We had a question about how to kind of manage keeping inventory in multiple warehouses and how that would look. And I think that falls under advanced inventory and the functionality there. And so Bethany, do you know as far as turning on advanced inventory? I know once it's turned on, you can't turn it off. But do you know as far as like how to go about turning that on?
When you're in QuickBooks, if you go to Edit and then Preferences, you would go down to, I'm gonna pull this up so I can walk myself through it, because sometimes I
Yeah, for sure.
edit Preferences. Then there is, in the very middle, there's Items and Inventory. You do have to be in single user mode to do this. And you would click on Company Preferences, and then in the middle, there's Advanced Inventory Settings. So when you go click on that, that is where you turn on Advanced Inventory Settings.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And we can probably set up or create some sort of screenshot guide to show you how to do that and send that out as a resource with this webinar so that you can see that. Because that is really, I mean, it does provide a lot of additional functionality that I think people find valuable. So And just to reiterate, this is being recorded, so everyone here will receive a copy of that so that you can kind of revisit some of this later in the day, the week, the month, however you need to use this resource. All right, Bethany, I have another question here.
Okay.
Do you have a recommendation for an inventory management solution that would work with QuickBooks Online for a small manufacturing organization? So they're currently on desktop with advanced inventory, but it doesn't follow the product throughout the warehouse, and so it's just not really sufficient for their needs. And they really want to be on QBO. So how does that functionality translate to QBO as far as your knowledge?
There are a few systems that will integrate with QuickBooks Online. There's SOS Inventory, Fishbowl, HandyFox. They are, I mean, there are quite a few different ERP systems that will integrate with QuickBooks Online. Those are the top ones that I know of that integrate well with QuickBooks. They're all different in different ways, so it is something that you would definitely want to research. And if that's something that we can help you with as far as researching, we do have relationships with those companies as a partnerships. So we can set up an introductory call to where we're on the phone with you, so we can better explain your needs, if that would be helpful, to the representative with whichever company you choose in regards to handling your inventory. So that is something that we can also assist with.
Yeah, absolutely. I think to that point too, like we've seen people go on different third-party apps to link up with their QBO when it comes to inventory and kind of know what works for what business model. And so we can kind of help guide you in that. And then of course, make that introduction. And if there's a partnership there, maybe be able to get you good pricing and just kind of come alongside you in that, because it is a big choice and it can be kind of a difficult transition sometimes, just depending on how complicated and involved everything is. So
Yes, and I can say it is from personal experience in working with clients. It is very time consuming, and it's very important that you do make the best decision with what you're comfortable with. So yeah.
So this is a kind of a cool question I've not come across before. So the audience member's business is vacation rentals. So how can inventory help me here? Can each property be assigned as an inventory item, and maybe the preferred vendor would be Airbnb, or how can that be utilized for that type of business?
That actually is a very good question. And the way that it's described in that, um, it sounds feasible. However, it is something that I would want to look into and provide a better, more detailed answer to. So that's something that I can research and get back to them on this afternoon or tomorrow. I can provide an answer to that.
Great, thank you, Bethany. I hadn't heard that question before, so that was a good
Yes,
one.
that's a very good question.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's take one more question. And this one is it possible to remove products from previous locations? When a report or physical inventory sheet is done, items show up in any location they've ever been in, and it's quite inconvenient.
Yes, it is possible to remove them through the inventory adjustment feature. You're able to either move them from one location to another. You're able to remove them altogether. So utilizing the inventory adjustment feature helps with that process. If it's showing up in a location that it's not supposed to, that would be something that you would go into the actual item level to look into. But also, once you realize and you're looking at the report, you should be able to customize a report to tell you where you can go and the adjustment that needs to be made. So the answer is yes, you are able to remove items from a location or move them from one location to another.
Excellent. Okay. So I know there's a couple more questions on the line, but they are seeming really specific. And so I would like to just pin those for a minute, and we will definitely research them and address all the questions that have been put in. But for the sake of just time, I would like to, again, thank you. This engagement with the questions is fantastic. So I do appreciate that. But Bethany, did you have any other closing thoughts that you wanted to share with our audience before we wrap up for today?
I just want to say thank you for your time. And like Jennifer said, we're happy to answer all the questions that came in and provide, if they're more detailed questions, we can definitely provide, detailed answers to your questions. So we will put those answers together and get back to you with those.
Great. Well, thank you so much. And I did want to invite everyone on the line today to our next webinar. We'll be back in 2 weeks to talk about the employee retention tax credit that is being offered. We will have some CPAs on the line with us who really specifically deal with this. What is it, you ask? Great question. So it's kind of an extension of the CARES Act that came out of the COVID-19 pandemic, and it's an opportunity for companies to qualify for tax credit for retaining employees during the pandemic, just depending on your industry and all of that. So if you're interested in learning more, please sign up for this webinar. There'll be a link in our follow-up email that you can register for it to kind of learn more about this. Companies can earn up to $26,000 per employee that they retained. So it's not just chump change here, it's definitely quite impactful, and there's no cost to check and see if you qualify. So I definitely encourage you to check that out, see if you can benefit from this credit. So we invite you to that. And as I said, we will definitely be here to provide answers to all the questions that were contributed today. We'll be getting back to you within the next day. And we look forward to having those conversations and really helping you with your inventory management and developing some training and some videos that can be shared out with our clients and our audience to really make the most out of your QuickBooks experience. But if you had any questions, really wanted to talk to us right away, here's our contact information. We'd love to hear from you, continue that conversation, and appreciate your time today, and look forward to seeing you again soon.